Yeah, it was yesterday's news. Yesterday's news. Quantum Day. The quantum presentation is like 75 companies, each being like, we're going to change the future. Okay, time's up. Thank you. Bye. You got 15 seconds on that stage. Meanwhile, Jensen just shadow all over you. Jensen says, yeah, it's going to be about 30 years before you guys are relevant. Most of y'all will be dead. And now he feels bad, so he's like, you know what? Go ahead, get your 5 minutes out. Go ahead. Tell me how you're going to change the world and NVIDIA sucks. Go ahead. I mean, Jensen is... Yeah, the Rigetti executives sold all their stocks. I think it'll take longer than 30 years. Playing with quantum effects is not some simple thing. There's a lot of reasons to believe that scaling quantum is hard to impossible. And remember, it's not so much that 30 years... It's not 30 years of concentrated work. Okay? They will take shorter than that. It's 30 years of work, including disappointments and so-called winters of low investment, people giving up, that kind of thing. A back and forth. And the problem is not how long it's going to take. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years or 30 years. The problem is the applications. You can't really find an application that gets anybody excited. And that's what people are missing. Even the short report, as good as it was a very good short report, very well researched. The problem with the short report is and there's no problem with it, by the way, but one thing it didn't focus on was the applications of quantum. There was just this sort of giving up of like, yeah, it's going to, it might be important someday. But if you really spend a lot of time on it, I struggle to see the application. No, it was a short report on IonQ. It came out from Kerrisdale, who I think does pretty good short reports over the years. Here it is. They talk to a lot of people, including former IonQ employees. I mean, IonQ is lying to everybody. So is D-Wave. The big thing about IonQ, okay, here's the point of IonQ, is you have these linear chain of atoms. My artwork's going to be so bad here. Okay. So you have these ions. And they're sort of in these linear chains. Okay? And you're in this pressure vacuum, okay? And what you're doing is you have these lasers. I'm going to make a little laser controller here, okay? You have a laser, and the laser sort of, here's it going out into space. And then here's a mirror that's supposed to refract it. And the pressure, we're at room temperature, but we're at like no pressure. And so this is a vacuum. And these mirrors will allow for control depending on how you move the mirrors and whatnot. There's other mirrors, whatever. And you're hoping to like still these ions so that you can use them for quantum information. Cool. Now here's the problem. You need 1 million of these. And as you scale the ions, the problem becomes, okay, well, a couple things. How are these ions supposed to stay entangled? And do you lose that quantum effect as you add more mirrors and more beams? How do you really control all of these things? And the other problem is, can you make the chamber bigger? So you have another laser, maybe over here, that controls more ions, but eventually you're going to run out of room because the chamber can't really grow very much. And what you can't do right now, at least, is move for some technical reason, I'm not sure I really understand, is you can't make the chain go in different directions. So that's not kind of what is allowed. So ultimately, you have to close the chamber, right? There's just so much room that can fit. The Microsoft thing is very different. So you close the chamber and you say, okay, this is my chamber. Maybe there's 30 qubits in here, maybe there's 100, but this is my chamber. Got it? And this is the ion trap. We're trapping these ions with these lasers. And we're getting it to like a thermal equivalent of 0 kilopascal or 5 kilopascal, 5 kilokelvin or millikelvin or whatever. You have the same sort of thermal energy as if it were frozen. And so the problem is, okay, we can't do much with 100 qubits. It's basically useless. Maybe you get a logical qubit out of that if you're lucky, but you don't. So now you make a copy of this, okay, and you make 2 of these basically, and you say, okay, I'm going to have 2 of these. This is their strategy for real. Like, I'm not kidding. This is what they plan on doing. They're going to have 2 of these, and they're going to make something that they're calling a photonic interconnect that sort of allows transmission of information this way. So my physicist friends say this is not going to work. And this is not going to be the way to scale, where, they start to do more and more of these, right? And if anybody understands physics at all, I think you know that the problem with this is that you're taking this very normie idea and you're trying to take quantum states, which are very fragile, and sort of make them not fragile. And you'll have a superposition collapse. And you also have no cloning theorem, which gets in your way. So you get a big issue here where you will have observer effect. And by sort of trying to like use this interconnect to like transmit quantum information, you can't put these 2 ions in superposition, for example. They're worlds apart. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The photonic interconnect is going to cause a lot of noise. You won't be able to do any of this. So to me, like, this whole thing is nonsense, and they're not going to be able to scale. Maybe a superconducting one might, but this won't. Ion traps are dead. And so to me, I think that's, the interconnect idea is just insane. Superconducting, like Rigetti and IBM and Google, okay, those companies, IBM and Google said, IBM and Google could do ion traps if they wanted, but they said, no, there's no way to scale it. So IonQ is literally just going to fail. Like, there's just no way they can make it work, even if you get through the thresholds of finding an actual thing to do with quantum that you want to do, and then finding a technology that works. You sort of have this. Finding a thing that you want to do with the quantum tool, and then having that be commercially viable. Those are 2 big hurdles that you have to get through, even if the technology works. So The problem with IonQ is technology doesn't work. The problem with Rigetti and these other guys is that, okay, even if it does work, what are you going to use it for? And then you ask yourself, that thing that you're going to use it for, is anybody going to pay for that? So, there's no actual, use case here. Oh yeah, let's see this Rocco. Sean Kwan. How does this guy have 100,000 subs?
네, 여러분 안녕하세요. 가을바람입니다. 방금 아이온큐 공매도 리포트가 새로 나왔는데요. 이번에는 재작년에 스콜피온 캐피털이 아니고 새로운 곳에서 나왔습니다. 그래서 어떤 내용이고 저의 생각은 어떤지 빠르게 좀 파악을 해봤습니다. 네, 2025년 3월 13일 우리나라 날짜로는 방금 캐리스데일 캐피털이라는 곳이 아이온큐 공매도 리포트를 발간을 했다라는 소식이 나왔는데요. 캐리스데일 캐피탈은 미국의 투자회사로 주로 공매도 리포트를 활용하는 전략을 쓰는데 쌈 아드랑기 인도 출신이신 것 같아요. 2009년에 헤지펀드를 운영을 하면서 설립을 됐고 이제 특정 기업 주식에 대한 강한 부정적인 의견을 통해 공매도하는 전략을 씁니다. 운영 자금은 3억 불 정도 되고요. 한 5천억 정도 되죠. 그리고 소형 헤지펀드에 해당되는데 실제로 지금 공매도 리포트가 나오고 한두 시간 정도 흘렀는데 아이온큐 주가에는 큰 타격은 없는 모습입니다. 오히려 양전이 됐다가 소폭하락했다 이래서 큰 영향은 없는 것 같은데요. 이 회사가 어떤 곳을 타겟해서 공매도를 냈는지 보면은 신뢰도를 볼 수 있죠. 그래서 ACM 리서치, 레드캣, 오클로, 루멘, 라이엇, 마이크로스트래티지 같은 회사들의 공매도를 냈는데요. 낸 이후 현재 기업 주가 그리고 당일에는 어땠는지 이거를 보면은 ACM 리서치는 완전히 실패했습니다. 당일에 주가가 17% 올랐고 지금까지 퍼포먼스를 보면 40% 가까이 주가가 올랐고요. 레드캣은 당일에 마이너스 7%, 현재까지 보면 마이너스 55%, 이건 어느 정도 승리를 한 것 같고, 오클로는 당일에 마이너스 4%, 현재까지는 마이너스 20%로 실패. 루멘은 당일 마이너스 14.5, 현재까지도 마이너스 14. 라이엇은 당일 거의 영향력이 없었는데 현재까지 마이너스 13%.
Hold on. Isn't that they're bullish on ACM research? Yeah, they're long ACM research. This guy's such an idiot. Here.
그리고 당일에는 어땠는지 이거를 보면은
Look at the current stock prices after issuing them. ACM research was a complete failure. The stock price went up 17%.
보면 40% 가까이
Because it's a long report. I'm dying.
주가가 올랐고요. 레드캣은 당일에 마이너스 7%, 현재까지 보면 마이너스 55%, 이건 어느 정도 승리를 한 것 같고, 오클로는 당일에 마이너스 4%, 현재까지는 마이너스 20%로 실패. 루멘은 당일 마이너스 14.5, 현재까지도 마이너스 14. 라이엇은 당일 거의 영향력이 없었는데 현재까지 마이너스 23%. 마이크로스트래티지 같은 경우는 완전히 잘못 건드렸죠. 당일에는 마이너스 11이었는데 현재까지는 플러스 32%.
I want to say you Korean dog, but I'll write you dog.
로 나왔는데요. 이제 공매도 리포트를 내고 얘네들이 언제 그 보통 어느 정도 규모가 아마 당일에 플레이머가 있죠. 우리가 법적 책임이 없다. 자료들에 다음에 빠르게 때들이다. 국가를 떨군 다음에 방식을 쓰고 있들을 하고 있어서 그래서 개인 투자자들을 굉장히 무시합니다. 이제 로우링 키티한테 완전히 호되게 당하는데 그냥 치지 했다가 이제 로우링 키티한테 완전히 호되게 당하고 돈 버는데 그냥 치지 했다가 이제 로우링 키티한테 완전히 호되게 당한 거죠. 이번에 저희가 스콜피온 캐피털 때는 제가 굳세게 싸우자 이런 얘기를 안 했는데 이번에 제가 여기에 좀 대항을 하고자 했어요. 내용 자체가 크게 스콜피온 캐피탈처럼 억지가 있거나 그렇진 않은데 이제 주주들이 어느 정도 기업을 서포트한다는 거를 제가 보여주고 싶어서 저는 실제로 몇 주에 펀드 퍼포먼스를 보면요.
Okay, yeah, this is another. So this is not his performance. This is 13Fs. This is a 13F calculation.
별로 안 좋아요. 지금 마이너스 뭐 8%에서 17%까지도 나오죠. 그래서 가장 비중이 높은 20개의 종목들 3년 동안 마이너스 9%를 기록해서 뭐 그다지 실력이 있는 사람은 공매도 할 건데 대규모 확장 가지를 위해서 어제도 저 변경이가 나오는데 3,007 기합하는 방법 2주부터 얘네 안 오르세요 합니다. 보통 이런 패턴이 절반 이상은
This guy is the Korean Joe
하고
Springer.
있는데 작년에 완료할 궤도에 있다라고 이 성능이 아직 끔찍하다라고 하죠. 그리고 원격으로 실행 커넥트는 어렵게 대한 정확 이제 필요 제품의 CEO가 장난감에 또 지고 있어. 진짜 CEO가 고졸이다. 고졸 맞았죠. 그리고 양자 컴퓨터는 실제로 있었고 판매로 실적도 많이 냈습니다. 그래서 스콜피언 캐피털은 완전히 틀렸던 거고 커넥트를 아래 1단계 커넥트가 굉장히 어려직들과 협력 현재 포르테 엔터프라이즈 5대 제다. 그리고 내가 쉽지 않고 양자 네트워크 느껴질 수 있어. 이후에 2022년에 첫 해에는 600% 연매출이 성장했고 23년에는 지금 8억 결국에 끌어올려서 같이 갈 거다. 이번 공모가 캐피털의 분기 기준으로 매출이 1년만 환불로 돼야 돼요. 그 이유는 다 그것과 같습니다. 자 그리고 아이언 10% 6개월 수준가를 스크류 공보다 하기만 을 위해서 그게 아닌가. 요금부터 하드웨어.
Okay, I know what I have to do now. I have to put out a fucking Korean video. God damn it. Okay, I can do this.